So I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different font families above the fold. I'm gonna say right out of the gate, I think this is really cool. This is an example of a designer or a creative agency that is really breaking the mold when it comes to design expectations. One of my favorite ways to improve my design skills, and one of my favorite ways to recommend others improve their design skills, is to take a look at what other designers are doing, specifically designers who are breaking the mold or doing some really cool, interesting, groundbreaking work. Don't get me wrong, it's really good to make sure you take a look at principles and principle-based design where everything looks perfect and is following the right rules and systems for good design like spacing and color balance and all of these things. However, taking a look at some cool, wild, wacky designs is a great way to push yourself beyond and outside of your comfort zone. And then always bring it back to principles and systems to refine your work. All right, so editorx.com/inspiration is gonna take you to the inspiration page, and it's a nice curated page with a whole bunch of different EditorX sites. I wanted to draw attention to that because we can look at a whole bunch of places for inspiration, but here on the channel and in the Creative X crew, we wanna make sure that your EditorX skills are skyrocketing. And these designers and creative agencies are using EditorX to build sites for their clients, for other companies, and also for their own portfolios. And so here you can actually filter by site type from 3D design to agency, portfolios, restaurant, food, TV, film, so on and so forth. You can also check out a feature, like if you wanted to see a CSS grid-based site or something that's using video box or scroll effects, maybe Velo for custom code. But right now, I just want to kind of scroll through a few and see what stands out to me, and then provide some commentary and some thoughts. Okay, so I want to start out with this one right here, Karina Strange Design. And so Karina Strange looks to be a web designer, and this is her EditorX site. So I'm gonna just start scrolling here, and the first thing I noticed is really cool colors and animations happening. This is neat. And interesting typography too. Cool scrolling effects, lots of nice animations. And now we're getting into some portfolio items. Very neat. Really playing up the scroll effects and the animations. Really stands out. Got an FAQ section. Okay, so taking a look here. My one feedback item here is actually, I'm looking at on a wide screen right now, and I don't know if you can tell, the website spans the full width, and I'm assuming if my monitor was twice the width, then this website would continue going. My problem here is that that's way too long of a line length when it should be something more like this. Max out right here. And then, you know, if my screen goes further, then the container is fixed. Or if you want to go full width, then split it up into a couple columns here. So this is a little long of a line length. Also, it's all caps using this, what looks to be monospace style font family. And it's a little bit difficult to read. You know, it's all caps, small text, monospace, full width line length. It's a bit difficult to follow, difficult to read. And so that would be my feedback or critique on this specific section of the site. Lots of playful animations and scroll effects. I think it's really cool. Okay, so this seems to be a form. Hello there, my name is, enter your name. I work with, company name, my email. Okay, this is kind of neat. Again, the full width on this large screen size, I don't think it's doing this form any favors. I'm assuming it was designed somewhere around this size right here. But otherwise, a really cool way of showing off the form and making what otherwise would be a boring user experience into something kind of different and fun. Okay, cool, I like this. Let's move on to another site. Okay, we got Campo Design Co. So this is a graphic design company, and I'm gonna say right out of the gate, I think this is really cool. This is an example of a designer or a creative agency that is really breaking the mold when it comes to design expectations. So I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different font families above the fold. And that's obviously a very intentional design choice, because common design knowledge is that you really only should use 1 or 2 fonts in your design. Otherwise it gets busy and it could be cluttered and it can be confusing, and it's just generally bad practice to use more than that. The exception, however, is if you are doing that intentionally and it's a part of the experience. It's not you going, oh, I like this font, I like this font, I like this font. It's the designer saying, I'm specifically going to use 6 fonts, and it's going to be a very interesting experience. And that's what's happening here. And I don't have a problem with this. This is very clearly an intentional design choice that works. There's a cleanliness to this site. There's a grid happening. There's nice organization, and the fonts add to this experience. So I think this is great. Now these look like big buttons. Oh, so they're not buttons. They're kind of more like, okay, services, when you hover over print, it shows the overlay of a cool gradient, kind of a mesh style. Well, not a mesh gradient, just a gradient, different colors. And then what services are underneath that category: print, flyers, brochures, so on, digital, social media, websites, branding, and so on and so forth. Very neat. Cool navigation, fun logo, very cool. And then it really stands out, pops right off the screen with some interesting like highlights to the portfolio for Campo Design Co. I'm loving the cleanliness of the portfolio and how well they highlight their portfolio items. Fictional brand, the good taco, so a practice brand, a practice project. But let's say you're getting started and you don't really have much to show off. You can show off your own work. And in this case, like you can see, this is nice, very well done. It's a fictional brand, it's not a real client, but it shows a case study, it shows the examples, nice branding. So if you were like targeting taco companies to help them with their branding and their graphic design, you could show what your work looks like without having worked with anybody before. So this is really cool. Imagine you're just like starting up a taco food truck and you don't have a big budget, but you want nice branding. This is a perfect example of, if you're just getting started, partner up with somebody like this. You know, if you're offering your design services to, you know, to entry-level brands, but they want nice branding. Look at this. This is incredible. Super well done. I'm loving this site. This is really nice, really well done. Cool design. Well done, Rachel. Very neat. Next one. Okay, let's check this one out. Nick Martinez, freelance graphic designer. Nice color palette. Nice, warm, inviting tones. It says here to scroll, so good tip. I help brands stand out and communicate better through thoughtful and strategic design. Simple, straightforward. You know, I love the spacing here. I love the embellishments. Nice color. Like, it's quite appealing. I think in terms of explaining the unique value proposition here, it could be stronger, but that's always tricky. It's always hard. You don't want to sound too extra and too specific, but you also, if you go too far on the other side, you sound really generic, like every other designer offering design service to communicate value through beauty or so. I don't know. It's like it's a hard thing to figure out your unique value proposition. I help this target audience achieve this through this. That's generally the rule of thumb I like to follow and recommend people follow. And so I help brands stand out and communicate better through thoughtful and strategic design. Like which brands? You know, like specific brands, like vodka brands, you know, food truck brands, clothing brands. I don't know, like adding just one more word here to be more descriptive would be just that extra step more niched down. And I think that that's more valuable. The design is beautiful though. Recent work, loving this outline. We're punching out the color of the text and using just the outline. Very nice. And like, look at these brands. We got Wild Luck Rum, we've got Lyft. Like these are like Celsius. This looks like some serious clientele. So like brands, it's a bit like really good work. I would think like maybe something more like, be more specific about what kind of brands, reputable brands, luxury brands, you know. I think just a little more thought into that. Let's create something dope together. Deep strategic thought, hundreds of hours, countless conversations, a lot of hard work went into these projects. Cool. I'm loving the design. I'm loving like the projects, like the work looks really good. Really cool. Nice case studies, really highlights the project. Nice animations. Like this is awesome. Copywriting and communicating value through words is always tricky for most people. So I would say like a few tweaks to some copywriting here and you could just be like a 10 out of 10. Okay, let's go next. Let's do something a little different here. Let's check this one out. This one looks like a great one to end on. This is the perfect example of designs that just kind of break the mold and are doing different things. I like looking at this because it's inspiring. It makes you want to play, it makes you want to create, and then you can borrow something from this. Like if you're getting a little too comfortable with your design and you want to just like challenge yourself, something like this is a great way to inspire you to try something a little different, you know, or to break out of your shell a bit. Very cool. So you can toggle just by hovering. I feel like I wish I could just click. That would be a toggle you click on. You don't hover over the toggle and it automatically toggles for you. So from a UX standpoint, that should be a click, not a hover. In fact, I'm hovering over here and the container seems to still, the container spans most of this width. And so when I hover here, it toggles it. So it reduces the effect, the wow factor here. If we could just make that a click, which you can using Velo, you can click that, toggle, perfect. That would be brilliant. I think it's very cool. I think the font choice is very fun. 8-bit style font. London-based designer from Vietnam. UX UI design. This is fun. Fun little embellishments like pointing, piece. Number 4. A-OK. It's like, sweet. And these just look like projects. TikTok was a sponsor. Okay, so tested a series of content discovery. So sweet, looks like working on some pretty cool projects. Really cool way of highlighting the project. Very neat, very analytical, while maintaining this kind of fun design style. This is really cool. Okay, so those were just a few examples of Editor X sites that I think break the mold, do some interesting things. They specifically seem to be mostly design portfolios that I was drawn to. I wanted to see what other designers and portfolios and agencies were doing for their sites to show off their work. Because usually on your own portfolio, your own brand, you get to play a little bit. When you work with clients, you have to stick to their branding, and that's obviously very important. But with your own brand, with your own site, you kind of get to do strange things if you want. Check out editorx.com/inspiration to get some inspiration for your own projects, for your next project, whether it's your portfolio or a client site or a practice site. And also join us in the Creative X Crew. It's my free community where design professionals are gathering together. We're meeting a couple times a week and we're helping you succeed in your design business. We're helping you grow your freelance practice, and also we're helping agencies grow and grow and grow. Join us. I'd love to see you there. And until next time, I'll see you in another video. Cheers.